Good evening, everyone. Communiqué IIT Kharagpur welcomes you to the first day of internship training week. I, Sarthak Yadav, along with Adit Chawar, shall be the host for this panel discussion. Today, we will get insights into a rather important and versatile profile of finance. We hope this discussion addresses most of your queries and provides you with all essential details. We would also be having a Q&A session at the end to address all your queries.
In today's session, we have with us a very qualified set of panelists. I take immense pleasure in introducing them to you. First, we have Mr. Ujjwal Anil Chikane, first, who is currently interning at DSP Mutual Funds. Would you please introduce yourself, Ujjwal?
So thanks for introducing me. So myself Ujjwal, and I'm going to fifth year, hopefully, enrolled in its 5 year integrated course of economics. I'm working in fixed income department of DSP Mutual Fund, and so doing work on something on corporate spread, and that's all about myself.
Thank you, Ujjwal.
So next we have Ms. Nimisha Gupta, interning in Deutsche Bank. Nimisha, could you tell us a bit about yourself?
Hello, everyone. My name is Nimisha Gupta. I'm a fourth year undergraduate now from the Department of Mechanical Engineering, and I'm interning at Deutsche Bank. And my profile is also fixed income, like Ujjwal's.
Thank you, Nimisha. Before starting with the discussion, I would like to congratulate the panelists for their amazing accomplishments. We look forward to learn a lot from you all. So starting the panel discussion, the first question is, choosing a field of interest, which may be with you throughout your career, seems to be a very crucial decision. What inspired you to choose finance over other profiles?
Okay, so for me, so as you all have just mentioned that I'm from economics department. So for me, I've been taught few courses of economics, finance. For me to go into finance field is much easier to go in software field. So my first point is that it's not that I've only choose finance profile and rest are not. So I'm preparing for I know some bit of data, machine learning, finance, and consult. So for the placement is different thing that you are targeting only one profile. But for intern, I think everyone have almost 2 3 profiles in their hand. They're just exploring in what to field to go, in which field to go. So I would recommend don't worry if you are not like you don't have any one field to go. It's totally fine. So also I was preparing for CFA in my summer break. So yeah, that's all. I went into finance.
Nimisha, we would like to hear your views too.
Yeah, sure. So just adding to it, like for me, I did not have any specific like financial background. So the way I chose the profiles I would sit for in CDC was mostly about the skills I had at that time. Like I knew I was good at problem solving. I knew I was good at like guesstimates, etc. I knew. So for me, I knew that okay, I these are the three particular profiles I would target or the companies I would target for. Like those could be any three or like I won't say this go for three. It could be like whatever profile you have set in mind at the starting of your preparation period. Those are the profiles you think you could be interested in. You think, okay, this is something you would like to explore, etc. Because I don't think anyone who has like until and unless you go and work there, you would know like what the work is going to look like. So you probably won't have an idea of the work. So the way I thought was one, I just crossed out the things I definitely didn't want to do at that time. And secondly, it was about like, okay, I knew I can probably code, I can probably solve problems, etc. And yeah, that's how I thought about it.
Add into one point, like in intern, if you're thinking about if you're even have a small doubt that I can go into finance or have interest, should definitely explore. So for intern, the firms and company they don't expect much that you should know everything about finance, even if you know have a basic idea. If you are able to show the interest in finance, it is good to go.
So thank you for your valuable inputs. Moving on, Adit.
Let's move forward to the next question. What all top companies offer to you, and what kind of roles they offer?
Okay, so in the finance, if you are particular about finance, so there are many roles. Like I can tell about equity research is there. There is investment banking role. There is sales and trading role. There is quant analyst role. Uh, then yeah, there is only a global markets role for Nomura. Then there is a a subcategory of analyst where every role stands. So there are few major profiles like just I told you, quant, fixed income, investment banking, analyst. So these all are the roles offered by various companies. For IITs, there is no like if you want to go into pure finance, the role is very less. Like very few only few firms come who are going to take you pure finance. So there is always a mix of quant, machine learning, data analysis with you. Talking about top companies, there is definitely Deutsche Bank, Morgan Stanley, JPMC, Nomura, BSC mutual funds. Then if you mix a quant or data AIML, then I would say then HDFC is also there, but yeah, again it's a mix of AIML role with finance. Uh, yeah, these all are the top companies we're talking about for the finance role in internship.
Nimisha, we would also like your opinion on this.
Oh, yeah, pretty much the same. I don't have anything to add. Like those are the so as Ujjwal already mentioned that usually these companies don't look for like core exam finance types. The roles are usually like quantitative roles, etc. For because we have an IITian background, if you call that. So the roles would be mostly like that of an analyst with the profile. If you see the work and all, that would be mostly quant or data related, etc. So I don't think any other even JPMC, I think the role which they offered on campus was quant based, but however, there are options to apply off campus if you want to
Yeah,
for other roles.
I think Nomura is a bit of pure finance, like global markets role. But except that, like everyone will ask you prof stats question. Everyone will ask you quant, some sort of quant, because they are expecting you that as you are from IIT.
Thank you for your valuable insight. Now, addressing a major concern among the students. There is a lot of confusion among the students about the generalized selection process for the companies, the number of rounds, and the nature of companies you interviewed.
Okay, so I will just give you some first. I will give you just a broad overview how the general selection processes are for company. So for every company, there is mostly a three types of selection round. First is CV selection, then there will be a test, then there may be a GD, then there is a technical interview, and there is a HR interview. These all are four types of test interview which they can take. Mostly out of four, every company has three. If you talk about Nomura, first they have CV shortlisting, then they will have a GD, then they will have a technical interview, then they have an HR. We talk about DB, then first they have I think psychometric test. First they have a CV shortlisting, then psychometric test, then technical, then HR. Nimisha would be better to tell about that. Is from DB.
Yeah, yeah,
Again from
similarly.
yeah, from if you're talking about JPMC, they have some sort of aptitude test. Again, the first is CV, then aptitude test, then technical, then HR. So most of them have some sort of plus minus one or two. If someone will add JT, someone will remove aptitude test instead. So everyone has this sort of a general selection procedure.
So, does group discussion have questions, topic regarding finance only or others?
Depends on company to company, but yeah, for intern, the only company which conducted group discussion was Nomura, and their topic was generally related to current situation of like for my time the topic was repo rate, how repo rate is increasing, how it will affect the economy. What do you think current next 10 years of India will be, how it will be? Some sort it will be related to finance, the current topics which are currently like booming or the hot topics of finance industry. You should have some ongoing knowledge about what is happening. It will not only help you in GD, it will help you in technical interview, the HR interview. Just show your interview, like how much you are inclined towards finance. Because everyone, if I'm honest, everyone is preparing for finance, but the roles are very less as compared to the number of students who are interested. So to get the edge, you should be able to show your interest, and this is one of the way.
More or less, they are looking for eagerness of the participant, right?
Yeah.
So moving on to the next question. We all know how important building a good CV is for showcasing our skills and achievements, and thus getting a good internship. So, can the panelists provide some valuable insights on building a good CV for finance profile, and also are online courses worth enrolling?
Okay. So for this, like the properly, how do you start? Has a CV portal opened yet? Just, I don't know, I'm not sure. So
Not
a
yet.
bit, yeah. So I think for these non-tech roles, there are like some key things you need to keep in mind while building your CV. First, like in when the portal opens, you guys would be able to see like there are different sections on your CV. On the top, the section which remains fixed is your branch and your CGPA and your like school percentage, etc. That you cannot shift around. The rest of the sections are very flexible, so you can move around as per your convenience. So I'll just tell you like what are the different sections and just go like to what do you think? What are the things you should keep in mind? One
Sure.
is about your awards and achievements. One is about your internships. One is about your projects, conferences, extracurriculars, PORs, and maybe some skills, etc. So from the finance point of view, I think one, you need to have achievements, right? Because you know that the population versus the roles ratio, it's very less, right? So there, if you want a short list, you need to have some sort of achievements which would be able to put you apart from the rest of the crowd. That's one thing. You could have any achievements, and if those achievements are aligned with your finance, which show your interest in finance, then that adds to it, right? That's one thing. The second thing is about interest. I think a lot of people do have what do you say, have been doing internships, etc. So people usually prefer to put internships over projects, like depending on like the quality of the work you have done. If you think that your work in projects has been better, then people put projects first. So that is one thing. Like you need to have like your internships, like whatever work you have done there. I'll probably tell you the details, I'll cover later. But then internships, so after that, projects, you would have done research projects with other universities or any sort of project you think, or a self project also. I think this is something I also did. Like if you think you have picked up, you have a good self project, etc., which might be related to finance or data, or you think could help, that's something you can put as well. And then I think next thing is PORs. They do help. uh, I think not in comparison to consult, probably yes, the PORs aren't that important as you would think in consult. However, for finance, they would help you like have a unique leverage. So having your PORs there and then extracurriculars which could reflect your interest, etc. So that is something. And I think one thing to keep in mind, just keep your CV within one page. So usually people do end up dropping their courses, etc., unless if you think uh, you have a lot of content, so you can skip that. Yeah, that's like the broad overview of what your CV should look like. And yeah, so whatever internships and projects are there, make sure that they they show that okay, you have some sort, like they show your interest in finance basically. Like if you put an intern which was done in a consulting firm, etc., so there's a good chance you might get questioned, oh, your CV is probably like consult based, etc. So that is something, that is another thing. Yeah, Ujjwal can add to it.
Yeah, so like I would say the most critical element for a strong CV is your, of course, definitely CG. Second thing is like your brand name. If you have a good brand name intern in a CV before a CDC internship, it will definitely help. Okay, so getting a CV selected for your favorite or your dream firm is very subjective thing. There are few elements like you can maximize the chances of getting selected. I've seen people having 8.9, 9 points pointers and still they are not getting selected. I've seen people who have good intern but still not getting selected. You have to be keep balance between two, three things. The first is definitely a CG. A CG should be above 8. Then there is a good brand name intern. Then there is a POR. As Nimisha said, POR helps. But yeah, as compared to consult, the scale is, I would say, less. Okay, so PORs help, and also PORs help in few firms. Like I think DB prioritize PORs, no, I guess some sort of. This is very subjective, but yeah, good brand name, good CG will definitely help. It will help in every firms. Second thing, if you are having a good project. The third thing, if you have a prior certification, CFA and FRM, then your chances of like if you have three things, good CG, a good past intern, a good project, and CFA FRM certification, then your chances of a CV getting selected is multifolds as compared to those who don't have. So these are the critical element for a strong CV, and rest of the things are covered by Nimisha.
Thank
Yeah,
you. That
just
provided. Yeah, sure, sure.
yeah, just
Go on.
yeah, just one more thing that, so like both of us told like there are like multiple sections. So try to diversify your CV, because let's say if there is a project section and you have like, you think that okay, you can keep on adding two, three projects, uh, there should be a spike in each particular section. So let's say if you have done some really good projects and you think like, okay, I might do one more project as well, that still counts as a one spike. So try to diversify in like different sections. That would be, yeah.
Right. Thank you. That provided a lot of understanding.
Building on that idea, what are the fundamental requirements for landing an internship in finance profile?
That is, I think it's already covered. And what do you mean by fundamental requirements? Uh, like you should know, you should have a knowledge of finance. You should have a good aptitude. You should be able to communicate properly. You should have good communication skills. You should have good CG. Matlab, this question bit some like yeah, this all three four things are the fundamental requirements. And if you don't have any one of the things, you can compensate by other factors which I had told earlier.
Yeah.
The most fundamental requirement is your willingness to learn, willingness to work, willingness to get the intern. This is the most important thing which I think everyone should have. Yeah, Nimisha, if you have anything to add.
Yeah, I don't think there is some ekdam hard criteria or something that you need to have this particular thing to
Hmm.
get a finance intern. If you just prepare your CV well and you have like the basic requirements, then I think you'll be good to go. But then, yeah, there's nothing as such that you very permanent. Okay, you need this thing for sure to get a finance intern. That's not the case, definitely. And like Ujjwal said, like I think this is something. If you talk about fundamental requirements, I think one thing which you should keep in mind is CG. Like a lot of firms, like they do have a cutoff at 8, and they prefer to have a 8 plus at least. So that would be a safe CGPA. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
Moving forward, what can be the best way to prepare for general aptitude and probability and statistics questions? Like you just said, that most of the companies have that in the interview process.
Yeah,
And
not only
also,
an interview. Some
yeah,
firm will, like every firm will ask if they have to have, they will definitely ask a question of general aptitude, prob and stats because they don't expect that much of finance. But yeah, like in their CV shortlist or resume, what we call like JNF or INF, they won't write that prior finance knowledge is required. But yeah, they will have definitely ask. So for preparation of general aptitude and prop and stats, it's same for every profile. You have one prop and stats course in your first semester, I think second semester, then again it have in your third or fourth semester. It's good enough for a basic understanding. Then you should have practice of prop and stats. There is two books, 50 challenging problems of prop and stats. That level of questions are only asked in interviews. That वो 50 challenging problems है that टेस्ट में तो नहीं आने वाला because it's too hard. No one will be able to solve in that test. And there is a second problem 50 heard one straight, I guess. Yeah. So there is two chapters which you have to do for general aptitude. This will be covered by like this two will be like this very top high level books. If you want to just do a general aptitude, you can pick on one CAD book. It will help in test. But if you are talking about interview, then heard one straight and 50 challenging problems will be much more relevant for your interviews. For test, you can do questions from as I told cat books and general aptitude. Then there is third website, I guess. Brains Trail, yeah. Brains Trail is also there. You can refer that site. There is, I think, four levels of question: easy, medium, and difficult. You can go through easy, medium, and you can, if you want, you can left difficult. Totally everything depends on time. If you have great time, if you have much more time, you can do everything. But I don't think it's possible to do everything. So prioritize everything like whichever you want to do. But yeah.
Isha, would you like to add something on?
Yeah, I think those are the three standard resources to prepare for general aptitude, etc. And for me also, I like mechanical engineering doesn't have prop stats wala course, so I just went through the notes which my batchmates had for prop stats, and that too I went through like in the last few days, etc. Because my focus was on other things, so that was something I kept for later, and those were like the only things I went through. And apart from this, yeah, the other thing which they ask apart from the general aptitude and prop stats are the puzzles, etc. So those you can practice either from the books or from Geeks for Geeks. And like I just scrolled through like random puzzle questions. And it's not like very advanced level puzzles. If you just have like a decent knowledge or just an intuition, etc., I think you would be able to get through the puzzles. They aren't very tough or so. Like they are like the same level puzzles which a lot of societies, etc., ask in their
Right.
GDs, etc. Right. So that's one thing. And regarding the prioritization, I think so. General aptitude and prop stats types questions are asked in almost a lot of companies, like be it ST, be it data, etc. So they do ask all these quantitative questions, etc. So I think it's a good thing if you just keep in touch with it like throughout your 2 month ka prep, at least you could keep practicing. Like when I was prepping, a lot of my batchmates, especially the ones who were preparing for data, etc., they used to solve these things on a daily basis, especially the 50 challenging problems. If you solve it properly, then I think you'll be very well prepared for that. So I think that's it. But if you are just majorly focused towards non-tech, etc., so I don't think you need to give like that much amount of time to this particular section. You can prioritize between the different roles. Yeah.
Okay, one more thing I have to add. Those who don't have prof stats course in the whichever semester they have, I don't remember which my fifth semester. So you can check out Stats 101. I think it's from Stanford or Harvard University. It's entirely a 38 or 39 videos of playlist. You can refer them. It's good enough. You can have basic ideas of what normal distribution, what is conditional for
Yeah,
that.
I think I went through uske the videos which you're recommending. I think there are some short notes wala PDF also. I went through
Yeah,
that
yeah.
PDF. I went through that PDF only. Like I didn't have that much time. So yeah, those are really good and like very it covers everything.
And what would be the ideal time to start focusing on them, according to you?
जितने जल्दी कर सको उतना better है.
Okay, a very crisp answer. Well, that was really informative. Moving forward, how relevant certificates like CFA and FRM are to this profile, and what are the advantages and potential challenges they present during the interview process and the shortlisting process?
Okay, so like from my second year, I'm holding like from my third year, like having a certification is like double sword. It will help you to get shortlisted, but yeah, definitely they will expect you that you should have a knowledge of CF and FRM certification. But I would say you like don't think about the negative effect, like they will ask you much harder question as compared to those who don't have. It will definitely help you. So I can give you one stats like having a certification will, as I told earlier also, it will increase your chances multiple to get selected for the interviews. Then how you perform in an interview totally depends on that. Then certification don't help you, but for getting shortlisted, it will help. Second thing is like if you talk about the company like BlackRock, almost 2 to 3 people out of like almost more than 75% are those who have a certification to them. It was a coincidence, but we can see stats like if your stat supports the people who have CF and FRM. And third thing is there is a trend in the entire campus. I guess everyone is doing CFA level 1 or FRM level 1. So now I think it's more than a like necessity. I don't know. The next upcoming internship placement or season will tell how much it helps because almost I can everyone I've received almost 6 7 queries from different students like how to prepare for CF and FRS. It's too much if you're talking about like if you're talking about last 2 3 years only like 2 to 3 people in the batch of economics are doing CFA, but now it's increased almost 3 to 4 times. So yeah, relevance is increasing. Both point is preparing for CFA or FRM before your internship will help you to get knowledge. You will know about fixed income, you will know about portfolio management, you will know about accounting, balance sheet, income statement. You know about economics, you know about count. You know, like you will have an idea of every different field. So definitely it will help you to also give your interview better. Yeah, so done from my side. Nimish, if you have anything to add.
Yeah, so I think as Ujjwal emphasized, having a certification is a huge boost on your CV. Like, so I don't know, someone told me that, like, let's say if you are lacking in some section, then having a certification like CFA or FRM does
Yeah,
compensate a lot for it. But now,
totally.
given that trend, I'm not sure how much weightage it would hold in the upcoming season. But coming to like people who already have CFA, FRM on their CVs, one advice would be thorough with the fundamentals, because the people who would be asking you questions, they know what CFA, FRM is pretty well, and they know like how you would have prepared, etc. So obviously, like they're not going to ask you some very advanced level questions which where you might get stuck, which is very core finance. That won't be asked for sure, but what will be asked like is like very fundamental questions. Like for example, I had a project which had a finance jargon in it, it dealt with a finance term, etc., and they knew what exact question to ask. So whatever you're putting on your CV, if you're putting on some jargons, or if you're which in your project, or you're putting CFA, just be very sure that you know the fundamentals quite well, because you would be questioned based on what is there on your CV, right? So if you have CFA, they'll be expecting you to know at least like the fundamentals pretty well. So uh, yeah, that's it.
That offered valuable insights. Thank you.
Given the time left, how should one prioritize between self-projects, internships, and preparation? Also, can you provide the roadmap for the last few months?
Okay, so for like there is straight away answer. Internship is much greater than self project is much greater than preparation. But prepare like ये मतलब सेल्फ प्रोजेक्ट वर्सेस इंटर्नशिप का मेरे पास आंसर है. प्रिपरेशन तो यू हैव टू डू एनीथिंग. लाइक यू कांट से कि मैं इंटर्नशिप में प्रोजेक्ट कर लूंगा, प्रिपरेशन मैं नहीं करूंगा तो मेरा हो जाएगा. That doesn't going to work, है ना? So preparation you have to do anyway. But internship is much greater than self projects. Focus on internship, focus on getting a good brand name, focus on getting a good intern where you have done something related to finance.
Yeah, I think that's actually very important. So whatever internship or projects you're going to do, that would hold a lot of weightage, especially in comparison to the prep you would be doing. Like, let's say there are people who would be going through a lot of finance modules, etc., finance prep material. However, whatever work you would have done in your internships, etc., that would be like the questions which would be asked, they would be testing the knowledge which you have applied or which you would have used in your internship. So it's possible that you could go through a lot of reading material on finance and that might not prove useful. So because that happened for me, I did not have like any separate prep for intern, right? So whatever prep I had was related to the project slash internship I was doing. So make sure that whatever internship you're doing, you have like all the necessary knowledge about it, all the necessary prep material which is needed for that internship. That would be enough. Yeah.
एक वन मोर पॉइंट आई हैव टू ऐड. कोई भी बात इस चीज से गलत मत लेना कि प्रिपरेशन तो कोई मैटर नहीं करती. प्रिपरेशन like preparation you have to do. Like if you want intern, you have to do preparation. You can't say कि internship कर लिया तो you have to do preparation. But it is a in thing matter. I think the question should be like self project versus internship. So internship करो, self project everyone can do. Everyone can fake as well. Internship provides credibility to your employer कि हाँ भाई इसने corporate में काम किया है, have experience, is trustworthy, is credible. So that's thing. And preparation you have to do like so most of the questions which are going now, you should know how to go through, how to drive your interview. If you have projects or even internship, then the questions which will be asked is related to your internship and project in most of the time. Again, there is an outlier, they may directly ask you some ये बता वो बता, हो सकता है, but most of the time they will ask you question related to your internship or self project. So if you have internship and project, you have a driving process. You can go through like isolated question. I will go through all the topics and it will help you much better. But इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि you don't have to do preparation. Preparation तो करनी है.
Yeah, and also please don't take your internship like lightly. Whatever intern you're doing, like just think, acha, you just need it for the CV, etc. Because even if you have a decent intern and the work which you have done there isn't that great or something which you cannot justify in your interview, then it wouldn't be of great importance. So try to just make sure that the work you're doing also is credible and holds importance. Yeah.
मतलब यार whatever work you are doing in intern, do it with sincerity, have some like goal and point in your intern. Fake करोगे फुकटी इंटरव्यू में पहले जाओगे, मतलब literally पहले जाओगे. तो so be prepared for that. Do some good work, put some good work.
That was really informative. Thank you.
Moving ahead, many students are concerned about yeah, so many more students are concerned about what the recruiter expects from us. So based on your experience, can you provide some insight as to what level of expertise the company expects from us?
I don't think the companies have a hardcore like expectation that okay, the person needs to know this XYZ information. However, they expect you to know whatever stuff you have on your CV pretty well, like very thoroughly. So like the if let's say there are 3 rounds, 2 rounds may they do grill you properly on your CV because every person has like a different CV, different intern. So they cannot have a uniform metric that we'll ask like proper like these standard questions. ठीक है, quant वगैरह वाला तो standard होता है. But coming to CV grilling, those in those they expect you to know the basics. They expect you to know like whatever things or like you let a lot of people do like in order to make it sound very fancy. They do use very fancy words, etc. Like this is the work we have done. So let's say even if you have put a word volatility on your CV, you get grilled like very nicely for like how it's going to look like. Like they'll not just ask you what you did in your intern. They'll expect you to have like the fundamental understanding of how that one jargon word works, etc. So that is the basic requirement. They don't expect you to know anything fancy. They just expect you to know what is there on your CV. So yeah.
So adding to Nimisha point, like the question is expected. Like even if I was sitting at your place, like definitely have a question like क्या पूछेंगे, what they will ask, इतना बड़ा finance है क्या पढ़ के तुम. So definitely first thing it will help you go through your CV, whatever anything a buzzword or anything finance related कुछ भी तुम्हारी CV पे लिखा है, go through it, have a thorough concept about what are the topics, what do you mean by thing. They will grill you in and out whatever is written in your CV. Second thing is whatever company you are preparing, whatever roles you are preparing for, they have a, I think, what the job description. Go through the job description. Some roles have a specific job requirement, like you should know time series modeling because of finance and data analytics. Mostly your time econometrics, you should know econometrics or uh, because in finance, if you want to do data analysis, time series is one of the most sought thing. Like finance का data पूरा time series का ही होता है. So depends on job. Go through the job description, whatever roles they have written. If they need any specific requirements, go through it. Like in some profile, like there is special requirement of you should know SQL. If still you should know how to code in SQL. You should know how to Python. Then you should go through the basic topics of that topic. Or some if some companies are coming for portfolio management, go through the topics of portfolio management. Read the job description. It will help. So two things: go through the CV, go through job description, and third thing is ask from the past interns what they've asked. Call your alums, call the ex intern. like क्या पूछा था. Get write down all the questions. I think these three things are enough. Or if you get any idea, like there are also some books which were not book specific, but yeah, there are blogs. I think we publish good. Like I was also part of Communiqué, so yeah, we publish good amount of blogs. You can go through all those blogs, can see what type of questions are asked in the interviews. Go through that. So these three things: CV, job description, and the past question which they have asked in the interview. Good to.
Yeah, I think you can expect some standard HR questions also, which
Mm.
like you can prepare in advance. And like you would be interviewing it. Let's say if you're interviewing more than one company, like make sure that you know the company's values, etc. So that you know your answers also sort of align with it.
Huh.
So that is one thing you can keep in mind.
Right. So for some of the answer for this question to like have a clear and crisp CV, and one should know what they're applying for. Right.
Mm.
Thank you. That was really insightful.
It's time to turn our attention to what we should not do and how to avoid these mistakes at the last moment. Can you please share your experience?
Okay. So the first you thing you should not do, like yeah, some students, like some of my friends, get unexpected shortlist in day one. So what they do, भाई अभी तो first interview just give for the name से देख के आ जाते हैं. Let's see for the experience. Don't undermine yourself. Don't be underconfident. Think yourself that you are capable enough. You have prepared the entire last 2-3 months for this internship and are good enough to crack. Don't be underconfident. Don't show. Don't be able to make judge the interviewer that you are underconfident. If you own and think that you are not good enough for the role, then they are not going to select you. So first of all, thing, be confident, trust on yourself that हाँ तुमने prepare किया है and you are able to crack. Don't just give on the sake of interview. भाई day one है तो आना भी नहीं था दे क्या तो don't be like that. Second thing is what should you not do is preparing for too many profiles. मतलब like मतलब software भी कर रहे हो, you are doing for analytics, you are doing for finance, you are doing for consult, you are doing for product. ये मत करो. एटलीस्ट एक दो प्रोफाइल तो काट दो भाई, मतलब यार आई हैव एंटायर 3 years टू फिगर इट आउट कि ये तो नहीं हो रहा होने वाला मुझसे. सो एटलीस्ट हैव अ प्रोफाइल 2 to 3. इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू गेट शॉर्टलिस्टेड भाई इस डोमेन में काम करना. आई अंडरस्टैंड टोटली, बट डोंट बी अ टोटली ब्लाइंड फॉलोइंग एवरी प्रोफाइल इन एवरी. Yeah, third thing, yeah, so these are the two things from my side which you should not do.
Yeah, I think the first thing which Ujjwal said is really important, that just don't run after profiles if you think your batchmates are doing so, because like leave that you might not have interest or something. On the final day of interviews or during the test, etc., it will become a huge chaos for you guys, like managing different company ka test or prioritizing different company ka interviews. So it's better to have like selected profiles just ke liye you have been preparing for a good amount of time, instead of like a lot of time it happens, right, ki jab company portal khulta hai, you just start applying for all the companies without even checking the role or without even checking like this is something you might want to do. So just have a very clear idea that this is the role you want to go in. It's okay, it's fine if you want to keep a particular profile as a backup, but don't go beyond like let's say 2 or 3, because it's very difficult to manage. You wouldn't know like what to prioritize when shortlist come. You wouldn't know like how to just go ahead and just keep preparing for all these different tests, and eventually you end up like subperforming like at all the tests. So it's better to have a limited number of profiles. And secondly, don't freak out. Like, ठीक है, as I know that as and when it just keeps approaching, you're very likely to freak out. But just be confident that okay, you have done whatever prep or resources you had. You have prepared the standard material which you could have. You have done like whatever you could have, and then just go and give it your best shot. Otherwise, it's fine. Like you can still go ahead for other options. Just don't pressurize yourself into applying for all the roles. That's the worst thing.
Okay, so one more thing you can do, like it's yeah definitely. So अगर तुम्हें apply करना है, I would say कर दो सब में apply in every firm so that you don't miss any of the firm or company. But after getting shortlisted, if you have 2 3 shortlist or 4 5 shortlist in day one, sit and prioritize भाई किसको prioritize करना है. Apply in every firm but prioritize, because 3 4 shortlist है और फिर because some of the firm will capture you for like they will take 2 to 3 rounds of half an hour, then entire day will be just wasted for single firm. So be prioritize भाई क्या करना और क्या नहीं. And sometimes you will regret कि भाई इसमें company पे apply नहीं किया, maybe I will get selected there. So for sake of your कि भाई हाँ ऐसे apply करना है, apply कर दो, but make sure to prioritize किस company में जाना है. Because if you have 2 3 shortlist, especially for day 1 day 2 day 3, after day 3 it's quite easy to manage, because you won't get that much many number of shortlists as compared to day 1 day 2 day 3 day 4. But for this initial day, be sure to make prioritize all the things.
Yeah, definitely. Like, because on day one or day two, or whatever day you're giving the interview, the scene is going to look like you running from one end of Nalanda to the other end. And it's very difficult even for the people who are coordinating to just make sure कि तुम्हारा वहाँ भी interview हो जाए, यहाँ भी हो जाए, because it's very chaotic. Everyone wants to have like their preferential interview first. So make sure, मतलब कभी कभी ऐसा होता है, even if you have shortlist and if you don't prioritize it properly, you're very likely that okay, you give the wrong interview first and then you end up suffering. So make sure कि you know पहले से very clearly कि you're okay not attending a particular interview because you know कि this is the company I have prioritized. Like, so that's something to keep in mind for the final day.
That was quite insightful. Thank you.
So, like both of you emphasize on internship a lot. Like they're very important. So, how should one compensate if he or she does not have any prior internship? What would be your guidance for them?
Dekho, yaar, for finance profile, we should have at least something to show your interest. This is quite
Yeah,
logical, I think.
yeah.
So if you don't have prior experience, then do project related to finance. Don't have project related to do finance, do some certification or do some online courses. Like you have to show anyhow by any means that you are interested in finance. So the best way is to do internship in related to field of finance. But if you are not able to get the internship in a second year, I understand it's difficult. Not everyone gets that. Try to do certification. Also under certification are costly. Try to do project under professor. Do something. Take participate in some competition related to finance. Or do financial engineering. Or do if you are part of economics course, then yeah, financial engineering, economics. That will also help. But yeah, for sure. So these are the few ways which by which you can compensate.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best you can do right now. Like, let's say if you have 1 month or plus, whatever is remaining right now, and you are finding it difficult to get an internship, like a proper corporate, still keep trying. Like, maybe if you can get an internship, because it has a certain importance on your CV, like, right? But if you cannot get that, self projects are the next thing to go for, because um, when I was prepping for it, I had a self project. I thought like, okay, this might not be of that much importance, because the general perception is that okay, internships, projects which you do in other universities hold importance, which they do. However, the self project, if that is something directly linked to what the role is asking for, they do end up asking questions. And if you're able to create an impression there, then that's it. You have crack the code. But apart from that, as Ujjwal said, certifications, although I'm not sure like if you can get the CFA certification, etc., because uska bhi result वगैरह would take time if
Hmm.
you start. If you already have CFA certification, then I think that is a good compensation, because
I
that
think
adds a
for
lot of.
CFA certification it is difficult, but you can have FRM.
You can try for other certifications which might come on time. And because in when you would be uploading your CV, when the CV portal opens and you're uploading this XYZ things you have done, you need to upload the required proofs, etc., for it as well. So just don't think you can put anything and then get away with it.
Usually, you just mentioned the financial engineering. So, can you just tell us a bit about how much effect it can have on a CV, especially for the people who are not from economics course?
Okay, so like if I have two CV, same CV, everything is same, then I will definitely check course. Company prioritize the people from financial engineering because they think they have done some courses related to finance. And it show the interest of candidate. It is a candidate from a financial engineering background is much more relevant than a student from other engineering branches. So that's how it helps. And if you want to go into financial engineering, then you can definitely take financial engineering as a like fifth year course. It how help like definitely if you are done the courses of finance, then it will help.
Right. Thank you. That provided great clarity. So, now we are taking up the questions in the chat box. Audience, please feel free to post any unresolved query. We'll be taking them one by one. Also, if anyone has any query, they can raise their hand.
I think
Okay.
someone asked about CGPA cutoff. So I think almost for every companies, in just not finance, they want a CG 8 plus. Like it's a safe, like the companies would sure open for CGPAs. They might not say, okay, we have a hard cutoff. However, they do prefer. So it's better if you have a 8 plus, but if you don't, then you need to compensate from other sections. Like try having spikes in your achievements, or try having spikes in your internships, projects, extracurricular, etc.
Okay, so for CG, like I would say, ki, like as compared to my batches, in my junior batches, the average CG is quite low. Like it's almost like point 0.1, point 0.2 less than my batch or my senior batches. There is a drop. So above 8 is good enough. If you have a above 8 plus, then there's no worries. There's no thing to worry about. I wanted. If you are less than 8, I've seen people about 7.8, 7.9, 7.7, even 7.6 getting selected, but they are outliers. Note my point, they are outliers. If you're talking about general, having 8 plus is good enough to go.
So,
You can,
Yeah, someone asked how important is CP for quant roles. I don't think that's relevant to the session, but still, I think it's very important. You'll probably have another session for that, so they can emphasize on it better. Lower department face a greater challenge. No, I don't think so. The what do you say? Companies have a short list or cutoff on the basis of departments.
हाँ for finance बिल्कुल बताओ मतलब quite rare कि
Like,
डिपार्टमेंट से शॉर्टलिस्ट कर रहे हैं.
yeah, I haven't seen
It's
like
relevant for
company.
software कि सर्किटल उठा रहे हैं, but for finance,
Um,
It's a very
what to do
common
in
question. Like,
first.
yeah, exactly. What to do in first year? Can you give us
Okay,
a
so for first year vacation, there is zero the velocity. You can read for, you can improve your problem stats if I'm done in your second semester or sorry, if you haven't done like if you don't have good problem stats, you can cover problem start in first year vacation. You can do a research intern in IIM Ahmedabad, ISB or anything in any IIMs or any foreign university. You can do a research intern for to know how much interested you are in finance. I think so. Entire campus started with zero diversity, so we can read.
Someone asked like about like how to apply for internships. Okay, so one thing is I think the best thing is through LinkedIn, like cold mailing, VC firms, etc. Like that's how a majority of people I know get VC interns, which do help quite a lot. So that's one way you could try out Ujjwal if you want to add to that.
Yeah, for like so reach out to our alums. Like getting internship in finance field is much more difficult as compared to AIML or software. So take a help of a alum, reach out to them like कि company में कुछ offer है. Like definitely you won't get a great stipend there, but having a brand name and start to learn their work. Alums, LinkedIn, cold mailing, yeah, these are all things which can help you.
Yeah, someone asked about whoever has asked about extracurricular activities. So, see, they're not going to differentiate based on like what activity matters more. The place where your extracurricular activities come into places, one POR, which we already talked about. Second is like the skills, right? Let's say if you have been working in a particular club or society and you have gained certain problem solving skills, which you could implement or implement or just show it in the interview because as far as I remember from my interview, there was a question about guesstimate. And if you know like simple problem solving skills, like how to think on the spot, etc., and as much in depth you can think about, then that surely helps. So in that way, your extracurricular activities would help you.
someone has asked that people generally tell to prepare for tech profiles before finance when people are exploring. So, do we get sufficient time later to build finance profile? What are your views on that?
I think it depends on the company you're applying for. Like for DB, as far as I know, there was a psychometric test, and then there was a psychometric test before the short after the shortlist. That and the test didn't require you to prepare as such, like from the point of view of like quantitative problems or prop stats. That test was purely theoretical and very analytical. Like you can solve it
Okay.
if you have good. Yeah. So if you know that okay, finance is the only profile you're going to apply for, then it makes sense that you give a lot of time to it. But if you compare tech and finance ka prep, tech usually it's very CP heavy, so it will require a huge amount of time. So I think you can go ahead and prep for tech, but on the side make sure you're interning whatever intern or project you're doing or reading up on internet etc about finance. That is something that doesn't get compromised. Uske alawa, I think you can. And because in non-tech profiles, the major thing is CV building, and that you can efficiently do once the portal opens. So, yeah, you will have sufficient time in terms of that.
There's one more thing I have to add for tech profiles. Like getting internship and tech profile through CDC or non-CDC is much more easier than getting an intern in finance because तीन चार कंपनी आती है उसके अलावा नहीं आती मतलब तीन चार I would कम बोल दिया but initial days में like as compared to the number of offers or intern through tech is much more greater than as compared to finance. Therefore, all the generally it is advised to prepare for tech profiles before finance because tech is much more easier to get intern. Second, it is much more time taking process for C because you can't learn CP in 1 month or 1.15 months. But if you are if you prepare very really hard or work very hard, you can prepare for finance roles in 1.5 months.
Someone asked about what to do in second year. I think whatever things we covered in the session so far, which are a requirement or which add a spike to your CV, I think that is something you could start working if you know already that this is something you want to go for, then you can already just start working on it. That is more or less what you can go for in second year.
Yes.
But yeah.
Selection process for DSP. So for DSP, it is the first round was like CV screening. Then they released the shortlist. Then yeah, first technical round interview, and then again the second round was also technical interview. So 2 rounds of technical interview plus CV shortlisting.
I want to ask, what
How
do you exactly do in your respective interns? Like, you can give them some idea.
So yeah, it's not. I don't know like whether I should tell or not, but I can give you an idea because there's some compliance or something. Okay, I will tell. So my work is related to corporate spread. Corporate spread is yield between what yield you are getting in corporate bond minus what yield or what return you are getting in government bonds. So I have to figure out the what are factors which are affecting these two yields and what's the difference between them. Maybe inflation can, maybe repo rate, maybe OIS, maybe supply of the bonds. So I have to figure it out. This is the summary. Again, there is deep work inside, which we'll get to know after getting in.
yeah, I don't think I should also talk about it. I'll surely end up in some compliance problem.
Okay, I think I've told you, like I've told you everything
Yeah,
about my intern.
yeah,
How
it's
to get
I think
research intern in IIM. So yeah, very easy. Like if you talk about any senior, there is simple process, cold mailing. There is mail ID. Like you can search the website of IIM Ahmedabad. Then there's faculty repo or repository of faculty. Then where you get every mail ID of every professor. Take out the mail IDs. Do some research on what research topic they are working on. Mail them insisting that you are interested in whatever research topic, whatever research they are doing. So maintain like give again this session will be of then become of how to cold mail, but I'm giving a summary. So include make a personalized mail for every professor. You can use there is some I think, what there is some what extension if you know through which you can have a personalized mails. Uh, Write down how much you are interested in and just do cold mailing. Could you give insights on how to maintain contact with Placecom on internship days and how is it important? Yeah, so I was a part of placement committee team. I think Nimisha is also a part. She was CDC department representative and I was a Placecom. So I think we help every student in whatever ways we can. If you want to know anything about internship, like each day, you can check the notice board. Every information is be released. Whatever thing like which public should know are released through notice board. You can check. If you have any doubt, you can reach out to any of the placecom of your department or anything. You don't need any connection. If you reach out to any placecom, all the contact details of placecoms are given in CDC website. Just randomly text them ki you need this help or you need to know about this info. They will eager to help you out. And how is it important? Just it is not important if you don't have any contact or it's just go through the notice board. You will get every information there.
yeah, and even on the in day of interviews, you would have like POCs allotted to you who would be
Hmm.
there for you. So you don't need to worry or as such just go on making contacts as such. Every like they're there for you and they would be and you would have like a separate POC for your interviews, etc. So you could reach out to them in case of any issues you might have on the day of interviews. Yeah.
How viable is to have a core profile as backup plan? मैं बोलूंगा if you are targeting finance, have one backup profile. So everyone who is preparing for consult have backup profile as finance or product. Everyone who is preparing for software has backup profile as analyst or data science role. So backup तो होना ही चाहिए because intern में कोई guarantee नहीं है कि whether you will get an
Yeah.
intern or not.
And bhai, and even in core, you need to have like a certain CG cutoff and all. So
Hmm.
if you're okay, ki, theek hai, you're just in that phase, we are ready to explore, you're ready to just go around and just see what different profiles might look like. It's not a bad idea at all. Go for it, prepare well what your core profile is going to look like, and then it's not a bad idea at all.
So what companies that do not have coding round? So कोई company financial company I don't think have proper coding round as software companies have. क्योंकि फाइनेंस पे हो, जस्ट डोंट हैव टू डू कोडिंग. Some companies, I think, मैं again बोल रहा हूँ, अगर if role is related to finance plus analytics, then they will ask you Python, basic Panda, Meta, basic NumPy. But if you're talking about DB, Nora, JPMP, even my DSP, they won't ask you coding as such. But you should know how to manipulate, how to play with data, basic data structures, basic.
Right, so panelists have answered most of the questions. Thank you for the meaningful and enlightening discussion. So we are almost at the end of the event. Panelists, would you like to add any other point that you think was not covered in the discussion, or give any
Okay.
word of advice in general that would help the
Okay,
students?
so I would say कि before your internship, send your CV to every senior, not every senior, uh, whichever senior you trust, to go through your CV, point out the mistakes which you have done. Don't have any grammatical errors or any identification error or any spacing errors in your CV. Your CV should be perfectly aligned, of not have any grammatical errors or mistakes. It should be a well-defined CV. So send your CV to review. Second thing is have as many mock interviews as you can before your internship. I think again Communiqué conducts mock interview. You can fill the form. It will happen again. I don't know what's the timeline, but yeah, Communiqué conducts mock interview. Or if you don't get the interview through CQ or anything, ask out your seniors, reach out to your seniors for having one or two, three mock interviews before giving actual interview. It will definitely help because the first time we will go for an interview, we will panic out. It's normal to have because it will be a first time experience. Even if you have given a prior interview, giving interview through CDC to a big names like DB, DSP, Noor, it's some sort of panics you out. So it's always good to have some mock interviews before that, a CV review before that.
Yeah, I think that's very important because there are a lot of details in your CV making, which people who would be reviewing would be able to tell you. Like, let's say, just don't have any blank spaces, what numbers to highlight, what things to bold, what things to place first, etc. A lot of things like formatting, etc. Like very small, minute details, which is something you get. Like, send it to your batchmates if you think like you trust, maybe who are not studying for CDC, etc. Like, try to send it to a lot of people. I know it's going to be very tedious process, and because everyone sends in some 10 different edits on your CV and you have to just go around making changes, so make sure you are taking into account all the changes. And then second thing, which I think would help you, just stay in touch with people, your batchmates who are sitting for the same profile, because that helps you stay sane. Like, if you have people preparing for the same profile, you know, like you don't slack off, you know how to prepare, you know how much to prepare, you know, like what are the resources. Like, it's basically a motivating factor sort of in this entire period. So don't just stay in your own bubble and think, acha, I'll just stick to myself and ho jayega prepare. It's a good idea if you just stay in touch and prepare together, etc. That's the only thing I have to say. Yeah.
Okay, one more point I have to add before preparing for interviews. Go through basic HR's question, 10 5, there are 5 10 standard HR question. If you cleared every technical interview, every coding round, and then you're then your HR round, so it's very bad. So definitely should know what's your weakness, what's your strength, why do you want a career in finance, how do you look 5 years down the line. So there are few basic HR's questions. You should definitely prepare for that. Second thing is there is must take prepare your introduction well. This is the first thing where your interview starts. You can add in the end line, yeah, I work at this segment in my last internship, or I have done a, a project on that topic. And your introduction there, there is breadcrumbing method. So you give them hint to ask question related to this topic. So you are the one driving force behind your interviews. So prepare your introduction well. Don't stuck there. Don't have some blabbering there. You should be like finance. Your introduction should be like in one go, and do some breadcrumbing that give some hint to them. Ask question related to this. Third thing is show your interest very well in the interview. Show that you are the best guy. You are the most hardworking guy, and you are the one which they should select. So make them realize that. Three things. Yeah.
Coming to the conclusion of this very insightful seminar, thank you, panelists, for your valuable time and for sharing your insights and experience with us today. Your contribution have been truly valuable. Thank you, audience, for your active participation and engagement throughout the session.